Welcome to C3 In This Together, 30 minutes in our own voice, a mental health awareness series. Today, our topic is men, mental health, and the barbershop. Yes, my friends, you heard me correct. Men, mental health, and the barbershop. Today, we're going to hear from someone with a lived experience who is helping others to cope, manage, and navigate mental health. My hope is that together we will be the generation that ends the silence, the shame, and the stigma of mental health. Joining us from Legends Barbershop in Atlanta, Georgia, is Joseph the Barber Stone. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Hey, how's it going? Good afternoon.
Going well, my friend. Again, thank you for being a part of this session. Let me also thank your client for agreeing to be a part of this time with us. I do also want to say to our friends listening that we do want to make clear that Mr. Stone's client is not here because he has a lived experience with mental health. But let's go ahead and jump right in, my friend. Tell us about your work and how it's related to mental health, and share any of your experiences surrounding mental health.
Well, can you hear me?
Sounding good, my friend.
Oh, well, okay, wow. Yes, I'm a barber by trade. And I've been a barber for 16 years. Um, so my craft kind of go hand in hand with conversation and topics about mental health. So I have a lot of engagement with clients throughout my career about mental health issues that they suffer from, or maybe even their family members suffer from. So that put me like in a position to be like a therapist, kind of, sort of.
Wow.
That answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. I thank you for that. And my friends, this is a great example of you don't have to be a therapist to be therapeutic or a clinician to care. Right? I love what Mr. Stone has said, that his work puts him in a position to talk with people, to almost be like a therapist. So thank you for what you're doing. Let me also say this, Mr. Stone. Thank you for being more than a pair of clippers through the barbershop chair. That's right. You're actually improving your community one client at a time. So thank you, my friend. Let's go to the next question. What would you say to someone or a loved one who's managing mental illness?
Well, first, I will first say if they're seeking to harm themselves in any type of physical way, we would definitely reach out to the proper authorities to get them help with that, so they won't, physically harm themselves. And then I would just kind of micromanage them through whatever they're going through my resource pool, through advice, even if we may need to, take a walk or something before I cut their hair, just to, just for them to decompress. Because a lot of times when we're dealing with mental issues, a lot of it is mixed in with emotions. And you have to know how to separate the emotions from the issue.
Wow. Great stuff. And I just want to highlight what you said for someone who may be watching, or they may have a loved one that might be watching. We do want to say to you what Mr. Stone said, which is this. If you find yourself in crisis, if you find yourself at a point where maybe you're thinking about harming yourself or harming someone else, immediately get the help that you need. Reach out to someone, talk with someone. Again, we are recording live from a barbershop because, again, as a male and frequenting the barbershop, I know the value of what the community of the barbershop is. It becomes a safe place. It becomes a place where we can decompress, as Mr. Stone said. It becomes a place where, we can find a place to release a lot of what we are going through. So thank you for that. And we just want to remind people again, if you find yourself or your loved one finds themselves in the midst of a crisis, find someone, get with someone, make them listen to you. What would you want people to know about taking care of our mental health? What would you say?
I believe mental health is wealth. um, your mentality determines how your day gonna go. So, it's an old cliche saying, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But in my opinion, there's no wrong side of the bed. You woke up and you wasn't in your right mind for whatever reason. It could have been some issues from the day before. However, how I prepare for my mental for the day is I get up, I meditate, I'll work out some days, and then, I'll just say my prayers and get ready for the world. And throughout the day, I may do a mental health check on myself to see as I had any anxiety today. Has anyone triggered me to upset me, push me to anger? Have I been, just a mental health check that I do daily for myself. And that's how I prepare myself. And I would, if I could advise any person to prepare themselves, I would ask them to use some of those techniques to prepare their mental health for the day, because it can be challenging in the world, especially when you don't know what's coming your way. And the only thing we have control over is our physical being and our mental being. So it's important to cater to our mental health.
Well, I love that. This idea of doing a mental health check, right? Just like we do a medical health check. We're checking our blood pressure. We're checking, the list goes on and on. We're checking our breathing. We do want to encourage people, make that a part of your world, make that a part of your day, right? Where you're checking in with yourself. And I love what you said about triggers, right? Identifying those triggers. What are those things that push your buttons? What are those things, whether it's people, whether it's emotional, whether it's a circumstance, whether it's an environment, you do want to be aware of that and check in with that and recognize your triggers. So I really want to highlight that, because particularly as men, right, oftentimes we are socialized by the culture and by community to stuff, suppress, which can lead to self-medication, right? So we want to challenge particularly men in this context to allow yourself to feel, right? To allow yourself the full spectrum of your emotions. And that's the way I like to position that, right? We are not just one aspect of our emotions. We're not just angry. We're not just, we have a full range of emotions. And my friends, I just want to encourage us to fully experience that. I'll say it this way. Number one, feel what you feel, right? Don't let anyone tell you not to feel. Feel what you feel. Then the next thing is, talk about what you feel, right? When you talk about it, when you deal with it, you're able to tame it. So thank you for that, my friend.
Yes, no problem. No problem.
What do you want people, particularly men, to know about mental health awareness? Particularly, again, you see men, you see a lot of young men, and can you speak to that as well? Speak to the importance of mental health awareness for children, and of course for men.
Well, for men, it's important because, man, we're the ones that leads the families into society. So it's important for our mental health to be intact, because if our mental health is not intact, those that fall up under our leadership pretty much will, they either would adjust to our mental capacity or they will rebel against our mental capacity. So that is very important, because we can live in a house with our children as parents and not knowing that our child is going through a mental crisis, because they may tend to hide it through video games or sports or what have you, or anything that adolescents may hide their pain through, right? And sometimes it can be over excessive eating candy, and you think, well, they're a child, they're just wanting candy. But that's how they deal with some of the mental issues. And a lot of times coming from, our communities, right? We have no experience in counseling, nor any experience in seeing signs of mental health. When I was coming up, it was always, ain't nothing wrong with that boy. He just need a butt whooping, right? But, sometimes that's the case, but majority of the time, that's not the case. It's something mentally going on. So I would advise anyone that's listening, whether it's male or female, pay attention to your children. Pay attention to their habits. Pay attention to the things they're involving themselves in, because that can be a sign that they are going through a mental health issue.
Well, I love what you said, and I'm going to steal that out. I want to make sure I got it correct. You talked about the importance of us as males taking care of our mental health as we serve as, most often as the leaders in the home and community and society, depending on what the setup might be. But you talked about this, and I like this, that people will either rebel or adjust to our mental health capacities. Man, that was deep. And I'm stealing that, and I may or may not give you credit. I just want to let you know that. But that is so true, right? The tone that we set, right? I often say it this way, we need to set the tone. We need to set the temperature. In fact, another way of looking at it is, we need to be a thermostat and not a thermometer. And think about it, right? A thermostat sets the temperature, but a thermometer responds to the temperature, right? But we need to be the ones that set the atmosphere and the temperature of our homes, of our communities, and ultimately our society. And then the other thing I want to highlight, really important, is what you said about listening to our children. Right. We want to be tuning in and being aware of what's happening with our children. So often, as you said, people will dismiss what's happening to children, but keep in mind that children are a little version of ourselves. And can I say children are a little version of ourselves? So what we are going through as adults, they're going through as children, right? As we're navigating the global pandemic, the cultural issues, the racial inequities, the social injustice, the mental health issues, that's impacting our children as well. So please, as Mr. Stone has said, the barber, the great clinician, please check in with your children, listen to what's happening with them. Crisis can trigger trauma, and if trauma is not addressed, it can lead to a lot of things: internalizing problems, externalizing behavior problems, things like anxiety, depression, insecurity, suicidal ideations, suicidal attempts, hyperactivity, hypervigilance, and the list goes on and on. So please, my friends, and I'll say this one last thing surrounding our children, that I always tell people: children are the expert in their stories. And I want to say it again. They are the expert in their stories. So listen to what they're saying. Listen to when they say stuff like, I have a stomach ache. It could mean their way of saying, I've got anxiety. So let's begin to wrap up, my friend. I know your time is valuable and you've got more clients and you've got to do your therapy work there in the barbershop. But how can people reach out to you and tell us about your work with the Confess Project?
Well, I can be found on all social media platforms under Joseph_Stone.Senior. My work with the Confession Project, I've been working with them for about 4 years now. Our barbershop is centrally located downtown Atlanta. So it's a central location where we get a lot of, people that have mental issues. So with the Confess Project, it's a partnership. They trained me on how to adequately deal with men, women, and children, mostly men and children, which are boys, on how to, engage, counsel, give resources on how to deal with these type of individuals. The Confess Project, man, it's just been a blessing to my life because it kind of helped me through some of my mental issues that I was going through when I first met these gentlemen, man. And it's just awesome. It's just awesome. They do a great deal of good things with the barbershops throughout the country, man, with mental health.
Wow. I'm amazed by that. And of course, I've done the research and we've done some work through the National Alliance on Mental Illness with the Confess Project. But my friends, I want you to hear that what's happening within barbershops across the United States. Barbers are getting trained in recognizing and responding to mental health conditions. Man, I hope wherever you are right now, you're putting your hands together, you're applauding, you're yelling, you're shouting, you're screaming. And I hope you're going to get this video out, because I absolutely love the work that barbers like Mr. Stone is doing to help heal the things that ail our community. And thank you. I can't say enough, Mr. Stone, for the work that you're doing. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. It's a humanity effort, man. And and if I could say one thing to anybody that's listening, my motto is fight mode, never flight mode. Because when you run from it, you're gonna have to deal with it eventually. If you don't deal with it eventually, it's gonna take you up out of here. And that's what happened in a lot of cases with people that have mental issues. They run from it. So My advice again is fight mode, never flight mode.
Wow. Say it again, my friend.
Fight mode, never flight mode.
Wow.
When we fight, you take on the challenge.
Wow.
When you flight, you run from the challenge.
Fight mode, never flight mode. I love that. Right. And we want to say that to those watching and those that you're going to share this video with. Right. If you don't deal with mental health, your mental health, it will deal with you. As we begin to wrap up again, thank you, Mr. Stone, Joseph, the Barber Stone, for all that you're doing to end the silence, the shame, and the stigma of mental health. Man, I can't tell you what this means to me. Again, as someone who, of course, this is all I've done is been in the barber shop, right? By the way, I need to get a little shape up right here. So I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm kind of embarrassed that I didn't get the chance, but it's not looking too bad. But as a male who, this has been my world, I can tell you that we find safety. We find the barbershop to be a safe place. Just like we find the basketball courts to be a safe place, just like we find faith, religion, spirituality, we find that in the barbershop. So again, thank you for what you're doing. More information about the Confess Project, and by the way, the Confess Project, it's America's first mental health barbershop movement. And for more information about them, you can visit the Confess Project. It will come up on the screen, .com to hear about what they're doing. And listen, my friends, to date, right, as we're going to taping right now, recording, they have trained over 1,000 barbers in 40 cities. Wow.
One of them.
And Mr. Stone is one of them, right, to recognize, respond to mental health conditions in our community. Also want to remind you, for more resources about mental health and mental wellness, I invite you to visit our website. That's going to come on the screen, c3inthistogether.com. Also, if you've been impacted by this video, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, C3 in This Together. Share this video. If you've got a male in your life, a young man, older man, middle age, get this video out there. Comment on this video and let us know how this video has impacted you, so that together we can bring hope to others. We also want to encourage you to take our 21-day thankfulness and next gen hope challenges. Thank you again, Mr. Stone, for all that you're doing. Thank the barbers there all across our cities. And I'll say this final thing. I mentioned it earlier. You don't have to be a therapist to be therapeutic. You don't have to be a clinician to care. Some of the greatest people that do therapy are not us, the professionals, but it's you in the barbershop, in the beauty salon. It's your grandma, it's your grandpa, it's the clergy, it's pastors, it's churches, it's your aunties and your uncles. So please be that safe place where someone can let you know what's happening with them, and you can become medicine to them that even therapy cannot do. My friends, we'll see you next time for another in the series of C3 in This Together, 30 minutes in our own voice. Thanks again, Mr. Stone.
All right, go fight, win.
Wow, I love that.